For your laptops.
Oh, to your laptop?
You can't do it from your computer. Yeah. Check. This is check. Huh?
Did you need your laptop? You need to go get it?
I can't do
You had
nothing.
it last time.
Yeah, I got the stuff right here. Hey. Oh, wow. Oh, Van. All right. People are starting to join. We have about a minute before we get going. Van, hey, what's up?
I'm here. What's up?
It's so good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man.
Hey, man.
Hey, it's been a while, brother.
It's been a minute, man. Since we've seen each other.
Since we've seen each other. You were still here in Cleveland, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We were meeting. Me and you and Juice was meeting up, talking about what we're gonna do
At the West 25th Street Market.
at West 20. Yeah.
Having our meetings about our dreams and
Our
everything.
dreams, right, and how we had to put that stuff in motion, and we can't just keep talking about it. And then I look up, and you in LA. I'm like, whoa. Juice in LA. I'm like, whoa.
And that, you know what, man? That's how it happened, man. I just appreciate you, man, because you inspired me. Because
Wow.
I was watching your life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I really need to get my stuff done. I need to go after what I want to, do, because I'm like, life is short, man. I'm like looking at the little grays, like, right now this is like quarantine rub right now on the face.
Quarantine,
So it's just like, it's just coming in. People joining in already. So before we even get started, real quick, I'm gonna do a quick welcome to everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, I want to thank you all for joining in. This is RDC Speak Life Sessions. My name is Rodney Damon Collins. I am the host, creator of the show. I have a very special treat for you today. Each week, my podcast, along with the daily inspiration I give, I take one day and interview very inspirational people who are very close to me. They don't always have to be close to me, but the past two people I know, pretty well. We'll see as it goes. But Van is somebody that I have incredible respect for. He has accomplished so much in his young life. Yes, you're still young. I'm gonna give you that. You're still young. He's an artist. He is a writer. He is a creative. He has been doing art since you were a child, pretty much. And I know you hear more about some of his major accomplishments. He has a shoe that he has done art for. That's in for President Obama. That's in the Smithsonian Museum. I don't know how many of us can say we got something in the Smithsonian. Thank you for loving my acting. Thank you for the love. But, this interview is by my friend, my brother Van. So I hope make sure you stay on so you can ask him some questions. But he has what he's done. He's worked on major movie projects. Some of his clients, some of his friends, Spike Lee. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Boy, did you tell Spike about the interview?
I didn't tell him. No, I didn't tell him.
We would have loved Spike to join us. But he does shoes. He does work with Spike from time to time. He's done work with Sony, Marvel for like the Wolverine pictures. This man is exceptional. He is basically somebody you want to follow. You can follow him at Van Taylor Monroe, or is it Van Monroe?
Just at Van Monroe.
At Van Monroe. Oh, he didn't want to use his middle name. But you can definitely follow him. His life is such an inspiration. And he's in Cleveland, Ohio. So once again, yes, good things do come out of Cleveland, Ohio. We represent very strongly. He's a ex-college football player. He was a big-time football player in the city of Cleveland when he was in high school. Has a lot of accolades that he's accomplished. Without further ado, I just want to everybody just give a little round of applause, little hand, fist bump, whatever, for my man Van Monroe. Thank you.
Man, I appreciate that intro, man. I had to sit and think about, man, who is he talking about, man? This is awesome. But hey, I greatly appreciate everything that you said, man. Such a warm welcome. And it's been a journey, man. And so I thank you for inviting me here to discuss and talk and just fellowship again, just catch up, So
yes,
I appreciate that, man.
Man, I just appreciate you being available to sit down and talk to me, because your life is such an inspiration to me. Are you still there, Van? He got a little buffering going on, but when he comes back, Van, you still there? Okay, he just buffered for a second, but I'm sure he'll be back in a second. Van and I used to spend time, as he said before we started the interview. We would get together, him, myself, and Alex Hitchens, Juice Hitchens, who's out here, Grammy-winning music producer. Van will be back. He actually lost connection. He'll be back. But he's a music producer also. We would get together before I left Cleveland, and we would have this time where we get together on Saturday morning and talk about our dreams and what we want to go after for, what we want to pursue. So we were just laughing about how several years ago we were talking about holding each other accountable to making sure we go after our dreams. And
sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's all right. Hey,
yeah.
I just was talking about our times when we would get together at the West 25th Street Market at the little
right
spot, which was good.
Right.
It was really good.
yeah, exactly.
You know, but to have our talks about accountability and how we should really be going after what we love in life and how to make sure that we're able to provide, but also to live a life that we want to live. And that's what you're doing now.
Right.
And just, man, tell us briefly, how did you know that you really wanted to be an artist? When did that happen?
Well, what's up, Sean? It happened early. It happened real early for me. I was 2 years old. So I would draw on my mother's walls, on her tables, these bubble crosses. And I would say that they were pains. I would call them pains. And no one knew what I was talking about, you know, in the house until one day we went outside and an airplane flew over our head. And I started looking up and screaming, pain, pain, pain. And then my mother looked up and she saw those bubble crosses that I've been drawing on her walls. And she said, and she told me, she was like, my 2-year-old is drawing airplanes. He's not drawing like the neighbor's dog or like, you know, his toys. He's drawing airplanes. And since that time, she did everything she could to foster that gift in me. And she told me, she spoke that into me. She said, you're going to be a great artist one day. You're going to be an artist. Since I was 2, that's all I remember is her buying things for me. We had a very humble beginnings. We didn't have much in our apartment. At this time, we were living out in California.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we were out
the
there,
irony.
right? Yeah. I was born in Cleveland, but we flipped, you know. So we were out in California this time, and we didn't have furniture. And the first piece of furniture my mom bought was an artist table for me.
Wait. Yeah. Before she bought her couch,
before she had a mattress. Mom, please forgive me for telling you business, but she had a mattress that was sitting on the floor.
This is a story.
And she bought an artist table for me because she's like, my son's gonna be an artist. We've known this for years. You're gonna be an artist. And what happened was I started to listen to teachers, coaches, naysayers that said, you know, you're not gonna be a successful artist of your generation. You're gonna be a starving artist. And I kind of put art on the back burner, right?
Yes.
And so they said, focus on athletics. You're big, you're strong, you could be an athlete. And then what also contributes to me believing that is that I didn't see other Black artists like myself as a professional. We didn't have the internet back then, right? So It wasn't like I could just Google Black artists. What does it look like? Unless they came in my classroom, which they didn't, how was I supposed to know that that was something that I can attain, right? So it wasn't until I got much older to where I started to take art seriously. And that was like at Miami University when football began to suffer, where I had all type of injuries, my shoulders and my knee. And then finally, I changed majors. It was a lot going on in Miami. Right, exactly.
I feel those injuries too, man.
You know what I'm talking about. And so it was in my my dorm room where I was taking old beat up tennis shoes and transforming them into you know, refurbished sneakers for a lot of my classmates. Wow. And then I graduated from Miami University, and then I went off into corporate America. Still didn't see myself as an artist until it got to the point where I miss doing the art that I loved when I was a child. And I had to leave corporate America for that purpose. And then that's when I did, man. I left corporate America in 2007. And it's been a journey ever since then, man. And that's when everything started to get going for me.
Now, when you took this leap,
yeah,
did you have a parachute, or did your parachute just open up as soon as you jumped?
Bro, I'm glad you asked that, man. Because no, I didn't. And conventional wisdom would tell you to have a parachute.
Yeah.
So that you can, you can survive that landing once you hit the ground, because you're on this high of man. Right, exactly. But I'm gonna tell you something. If I had waited until I had that parachute, and I'm not giving this advice to anybody else. This was my journey, y'all, by the way. All right, don't take this and be like,
well, can I add something to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody listening, I hear what Van's saying, but no, if you have something you want to do, listen. So go ahead.
Okay,
it's my show, so I can
yeah. So this was 2007.
Yes.
I left September 2007. For the rest of that year, I went absolutely like broke. I didn't get any income as an artist. I was living off of my savings.
Okay.
Around January, them savings ran out, and I had eviction notice on my door.
Okay.
All in the pursuit of being this artist that my mother told me that I was going to be since I was 2 years old. Mm. And now I'm feeling the fears and hearing the echoes of the people that told me you was going to be a struggling artist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, were they right? Man, should I have stuck with my job? Mm-hmm. But at this time, there was a guy running for president from Chicago with a funny name named Barack Obama, right?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, right? And so he actually started winning some of his primaries. And I became inspired by his journey, his audacity to want to be the first Black president. Like, who would think you want to be the first Black president? And just from that alone, I was like, you know what, Van? If he can make it this far, he may not even be the first Black president, but you can be an inspirational artist in your generation. Like, you can do at least that, right? And so I was probably like a week away from being homeless. I had, I had this eviction notice on my door. I had no way of paying it off. And it was this guy in Cincinnati named Richard Brown, who was running a shoe company called Pimp My Kicks. And he looked me up and he was like, Van, I got 9 pair of tennis shoes. I see you paint sneakers. Can you fulfill these orders that I have? I don't have an artist to paint them. And I was like, yeah, I can paint those shoes, but it's so crazy. Like, I met him in this parking lot, like at midnight somewhere. And I was like, bro, I can paint those shoes, but I need that money up front because I got to pay my eviction notice.
And we didn't have Cash App and other stuff, right?
Bro, it wasn't no Cash App. It wasn't none of that. It said, I need straight cash. Meet me at this location at midnight. Had a cash in a brown paper bag. Give me the shoes. And let's get this thing jumping, right? Listen, bro, it was just like that. And Rich laughed. You hear me telling this story because we look mad suspicious.
I can imagine.
Bro, because it was the parking lot of like an amusement park or something. It was like, there's no way we should have been there. But it was the middle ground of where we live. And it was just like, it was like, no, we are not supposed to be here. Anyway, he gave me the money. And I paid off my eviction notice. Okay. I didn't have much to spare. I had maybe like $1 left. But I got peace of mind. Like, I was able to sleep at night because I'm like, man, I've been worrying about paying for my rent. I've been surviving off $8 a week, just trying to pursue this. And anybody want to know how to survive $8 a week, hit me up in my inbox. I can tell you how to do it.
That's
like,
a book.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Right. That's why I'm like, this time is tough, man. But shoot, I've been here. Like, I've been here. I know how to make it. But anyway, so I painted the shoes, whatever, and I took care of that. But after I got that rest, after that night where I had peace, a vision came to me, and it was the Barack Obama shoe. And it looked exactly how it does as sitting in the Smithsonian. So I woke up at like 2 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know who this shoe is for, but I'm going to paint this shoe. I'm going to paint it for myself. Wow. And I painted that shoe for myself, and I had no intentions of showing no one else. I was going to put it on my mantle in my place in Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati at the time. In Cincinnati, and that was going to be my inspiration every day when I woke up. I was going to look at that and remind myself, Barack made it this far. You can be an inspirational artist. Keep pushing, keep pushing. And this was when we thought Hillary was going to win. Like, no one gave Barack Obama much of a chance. This was early. This was early 2008, right? We was like Hillary, early.
Yes.
So I decided to, you know what, Van, you might as well post this with your other work. So I took a picture of it, posted it on MySpace. That's all I had at the time was a MySpace page. MySpace, right. That's how far I go back. Like, this is how long it's been. Like, this ain't no Instagram. People on the gram, people on Twitter. No, I was on MySpace, my dude. MySpace. And I remember even the fact when I took it to the mall, and I tried to get people to hold it, take a picture with the shoe. Nobody would touch it. Oh,
really?
No, I'm not touching that shoe. Oh, shoot. I'm like, bro, you don't support, bro? No, heck no. These are black people. Like, oh, no, we ain't touching that shoe. I'm like, all right, cool, fine. Nobody wants to take a picture with the shoe.
I would have took a picture.
This shit, hey, listen. Now everyone's sending me pictures of them taking a picture of the shoe in the Smithsonian. But they didn't want to take a picture of the shoe when I was in Cincinnati. And anyway. So
won't he do it, right?
Right, exactly. Won't he do it? Right. Now I'm getting all kind of pictures. Anyway, so I took the picture, put it on MySpace, and it went viral before like I understood what viral was.
Wow.
Right. So it was on a lot of blogs, and it was the topic of discussion on like BET.com. And I would just get on there at night and I would just read people just make up stories about who I was and what I was doing. Because it was just this, it was something very new to our community as far as someone that was customizing, painting shoes and then having like a political thing behind it. You know, it wasn't just, you know, painting SpongeBob on a pair of sneakers. I had Barack Obama that had a political thing. And they were like, oh, no, this is a guy that's working for the Hillary campaign. Or no, this is a guy who's a Republican. He's trying to trick black folks. Black folks, y'all so gullible to believe this. And I'm sitting there reading everything like they are so matter of fact of who I am in my journey. Like they have no idea.
No.
And like all they had to do was go through my MySpace pictures. They saw who I was, but they took that one image and they just ran with it. Oh, you know, and so, but eventually it got out who I was. And the big thing that happened was the Smithsonian Museum contacted me. And they said, you know, we see that, you know, you've created like a buzz and like, you know, I was one of the first people to put like Barack's name on apparel. Yeah. I would say I'm the first, but I'm not gonna say that. But I'm gonna say one of the first, okay?
Well, I'm gonna estimate and say you was in that top 2 or 3. I'm gonna say you was up there.
Definitely top 2.
Yes.
But
I didn't see a lot.
Really, probably the first one. But anyway, people saw that, and then that's when you start seeing all the hats, the shirts, scarves, and everything. But the Smithsonian Museum say, hey, we're going to build this African American History Museum one day. And just from the movement from this shoe and what it's done to help, you know, support that campaign, and then, you know, along with at that time it was Senator Obama, we want to put this shoe in our museum. And so I still didn't understand what that meant at that point, because there was no African American History Museum. There was a Smithsonian, it's the biggest museum in the world. Yes. But I didn't know what that meant. But I read the email and I thought it was a joke initially. Then I called the curator who wrote the email to me, and I said, "Is this a joke? Are you like, who is this?" They say, "No, we're serious." And I'm like, "Oh, is it a temporary deal where you're gonna send it back to me?" It was like, "No, this is permanent. We want it to be in a permanent display in the Smithsonian." And I was just like, I dropped the phone and I literally, Rod, I cried, because I was like, Van, you could have gave up. Yeah. Van, you could have waited till you got a parachute. Because if I had waited for a parachute, I would have missed that struggle that I went through. I would have missed that moment where I needed to pay off my eviction notice and woke up with that dream and then painted that shoe. I would have missed that. It would have been for somebody else. You'd be sitting here talking to John Smith, the creator of the Obama shoe, and I'd be on here like cheering him on, like, man, that brother, I tell you, boy, woo. I would have had money, but I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be in the Smithsonian. You know what I mean? Like I would have missed that if I didn't act right when God said move. You know, I was obedient to that. He was like, I was sitting in my desk in September, and he said, "Why are you here when I made you an artist?" Wow. I made you an artist, and you are pursuing someone else's purpose, someone else's gift. You're sitting because the only reason I was at that job was because my friend was making more money than me at Sherwin-Williams. I was at Sherwin-Williams. He was a logistic manager. Yes. And I said, I want to make his salary. And so I left my job to make his salary, and then I stopped doing art to try to make his salary. And then it got to the point where I couldn't do my job because I kept thinking about art. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I tried it. Yeah. I tried it, but God was like, no, listen. You're going to listen to me now. Yes. And you're going to move. And then that's how it happened, man. That's how it happened. And I went through that struggle, so it kind of tested my faith in that struggle. Yes. Because I could have went back. I could have gave up. but I knew I had like 18 younger cousins, and I had siblings that looked up to me, and I just knew that if I quit and everybody knew that I went on this leap in this journey, that one or two things would happen. Either they wouldn't pursue their purpose, or they would pursue it, and then when things got rough, they would quit and justify it by saying, "Oh, this is what Van did. You know, this is what you should do. You should quit when things get rough. You know, why would you continue?" Man. And I said, I can't do this. Like, this journey